This will be Monday, March 30th. We will get into our Theseus story. Before that, we have bell work. Treasure challenge is tomorrow. Walk along from there. With the bell work, the first one we have is the CYCL. I give you Cyclops, which is a creature that has a wheel as an eye, and a Cyclone, which is a wind that sort of spins around in a circle like a wheel. The easy ones that we were able to come up with, they're all the vehicles, which would be
Cycle.
Bicycle,
Tricycle.
tricycle,
Oh,
the
motorcycle.
the one that has the motor on it.
What about pop cycle?
Motorcycle. Good job.
Pop cycle.
Pop cycle is not a thing. Yes, dear.
Are you cyclist?
A cyclist and cycling, all the things that have to do with cycle.
Unicycle?
Good job. That'd be the things to do with cycling. Yes.
Popsicle?
Still no. It hasn't changed the last time you said it. And from there, any other things that you come up with that were not unicycle or bicycle or tricycle or cycling or. There's the easy one that we have in my room whenever you try to throw stuff away and I yell at you.
Bucket points?
Good job. Recycle. So just that same idea. If you can't, or if you have to do research and look up a subject, there are types of books you can go to. Encyclopedia.
That's
So
what
that thing up from there, it comes from the same idea. Travis?
Sideboard.
Good try. Let's see, is that all we came up with? I guess we'll go with it. Fluffy.
Monocle.
That has
No,
no.
but a good try.
Same thing, Punchy does.
Then down to the next one. Medi. We have middle, median, the thing in the middle of the road. Mediator, the person who gets between arguments to try and help you out. Weedy.
Mediocre.
Mediocre would work, meaning it's right in the middle of everything. Con. Bogart.
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, the sea that was in the middle of all the stuff. Grant.
Medicine.
Medicine, because it's supposed to get to the middle of the issue. Is that your one?
Yeah.
Oh, it would have worked.
What about Medicare?
Same thing, it comes from medicine.
Okay, so yeah.
Yes, dear. Medical, all the medicine ones are all connected together. Yep.
Medieval.
Medieval, meaning it was in the middle of the times.
Wait.
Travis?
Medusa.
No.
Dang.
Try on that one. If I don't wear a small or a large, I wear
Medium.
Medium. Nicely done.
Dang. You call us a brother.
And then if you are trying to do the thing where you go meditating, because you're trying to find the center of your being. And for die.
Wait, I have another one.
What about MIDI?
Meditate.
We just did that.
Oh my god.
Die
Meditation.
for split and two. Dilemma, having to go between two choices. Diameter, drawing something in half. Now realize, like the word dip does not come from it. Dimples doesn't come from it. Die does not come from it. Just because it has the letters DI doesn't necessarily mean it connects to it. Soapy,
Wouldn't dimples work because we have two?
we don't always have two. Some people just have one.
That's weird.
But that was a good try.
Okay.
Fluffy,
Diet.
diet. I don't know if it does or not. We'll look for now. I'm not positive on it. Zach?
Diplomatic.
Does not, but it does have the DI. It's a good try. Jake? Diverge or divergent because you are splitting. That would definitely work. I would, but you keep talking. Travis?
Diabetes.
Diabetes actually does because it deals with being splitting in the body. Isabel?
Dice.
Also does not connect, but a good try. A way to sound forceful when you said it. Jenkins?
Okay, I got you. Division and dill pickle.
Dill pickle does not, but division definitely. Division, the idea of splitting things.
Dill pickle.
Sometimes if you like your grilled cheese sandwiches and you don't like it cut long ways, you can also have it cut on the
Diagonal.
diagonal. Doesn't say anything. Fluffy.
Diameter.
Disc.
Flat.
Disc does not. But a good try on that one also. Way to find another DI word. Cameron.
I don't know, I was just thinking about diaphragm.
Diaphragm does. Nicely done. So for those of you who are all sciencey, you have like dichotomous key or something like that. Also connects to it. Connor. Dinosaur does not. I didn't like the DI. Moving on from there. Let's see, we did the Spirit Week, which is this week. So tomorrow is the Decades Day, Wednesday Neon. So
What does it mean?
I'm gonna spike my head.
Like 20, 30.
Really?
Yeah,
Let's do that.
No,
Wait, do you have a sponge?
Time period.
Grant,
I have a question. Would double dip work?
because you use dip, which I said doesn't work. So putting double in front of it does not, but a good try. Way to try. try and sneak it in there. With our story of Theseus, which is the story that you guys picked up from me last week, Theseus is officially your last story, and we're going to go through it here in just a moment to try and help you out. If you're still working on the bell work to get your sentences in there or to try and figure out how to write a date at the top left, then you can go ahead and do that. I do have an extra credit story. If you want to do one more story for Greek mythology, it is the Golden Fleece story, which I will have copies of tomorrow. There are 5 questions on the myth test, and if you want to do that story and do the 5 questions, it can get you up to 10 extra credit points on the test. It is optional. If you don't want to do it, you can make this one your last story. Zach? I know, I've moved on to Theseus. With Theseus, for here is we're going to deal with the island of Crete. And the island of Crete is this little one here. You have Greece up to there, and then Turkey, and this island out here on the own. Is going to deal with the guy that was the king of Crete by the name of King Minos. King Minos, his mom, a girl by the name of Europa, was friendly with Zeus, and he was one that set her up as the queen of this place. And being as that Queen Europa was the queen, when she had a baby, King Minos eventually becomes the king of this place. And so Minos eventually becomes the king. Things go well, except as King Minos gets older, being the son of Zeus, because it was his mom who got friendly, Minos doesn't want to sacrifice to the gods. Being the son of the big top god, he feels he doesn't really have to go about doing that. So he doesn't really sacrifice as much as he should, especially to Poseidon. And Poseidon says, hey, I would like you to sacrifice to me a lot more often than you are. Why is it that Minos should sacrifice to Poseidon of all the gods? Yeah, he's on an island. Poseidon's like, listen, it's kind of insulting to me that you're in the middle of my kingdom, even if you are the son of Zeus, and you sacrifice nothing to me. It makes me look bad in front of all my friends. So how about, he's disrespecting him. And so because of that, he's like, I'd like for you to stop dissing me. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to come up with a plan. And Minos goes, all right, what's the plan? He goes, what do you want me to do? Poseidon goes, let's do this. I give you a present. I'm going to give you an animal, and then you just sacrifice it right back to me. That way I get to brag to all my friends, and then that way it's not like it's not work for you, and everyone's like it's a win-win situation. How's that sound? He goes, all right, that works. What kind of animal do you want me to do? He goes, how about a bull? And he goes, a bull? He goes, yeah. Rumor has it, when your mom came here, she was tricked here when Zeus turned himself into a giant white bull. So in order to honor that, I will give you a gigantic white bull to sacrifice back to me. King Minos goes, all right, that works for me. So Poseidon claps his hands, and out of the water comes this gigantic white bull. That's King Minos right there. This gigantic white bull comes walking up out of the water. And he goes, this is the gigantic white bull. 1 month from now, I want you to sacrifice it back to me. Does that work? And they go, yeah, deal. And they go up and they fist bump each other. They're like, all right, good job. And they takes off. Well, this gigantic white bull turns out to be super friendly. To the point that people would walk up there and you would just sort of pet it on the nose. They would even like start purring. Moo, moo, moo. It's like it's disturbing, but that works out well. And it'd be like that. People would climb up on top of it and they would ride around on his back like carnival rides. Woo, and go all over the place. And to the point where King Minos' wife, a lady by the name of Queen Pasiphae, really took a liking to it. She ended up having an inventor who was there on their island by the name of Daedalus. And she was like, Daedalus, I really dig watching this bull, but I want to watch it when no one's around. So like even the bull doesn't know I'm there. How is it I can hide out there and watch it with no one knowing? So Daedalus goes, I have an idea. So Daedalus goes and creates a giant fake cow. And they roll out this giant fake cow, and she sits inside of it, and it has like a little viewport, like you can look out of its eyeballs. And she has a little chair, and then she sits in there. She can eat popcorn and like drink a soda and stuff like that. And they would wheel her out in this giant fake cow, and she would just sit out there and just watch this bull as it walked around. It's like, oh, it's so pretty, munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. People are like, you're kind of creepy. She's like, shut it! Oh. And so she would sit out there and watch this bull. Well, the weeks go by, and she ends up falling for it, thinking it's like the best pet in the world. She even names it. She gives it a name like Fred, because Fred's a good name. And she's like, we're going to call this bull Fred. And she goes and talks to her husband, King Minos. She's like, hey, you know that bull that we're supposed to sacrifice? He's like, yeah, it's coming up in just a couple days. She goes, I don't want to sacrifice the bull. And he goes, why not? She goes, I don't think we can do that to Fred. King Minos goes, who's Fred? She goes, that's the name of the bull. He goes, you named the bull Fred. And she's like, yeah, that's a great name. He's like, you're kind of crazy, lady. And she goes, listen, I'm your wife. This is what I say is going to happen. I'm going to stomp my foot now. Stomp, stomp. You will not sacrifice this bull or I'm going to throw a fit. He's like, we're going to sacrifice it. She's like, no, you're not. He's like, okay, fine, whatever. So they decide not to sacrifice this bull. He goes, but here's the problem. I made an agreement with Poseidon. We even fist bumped on it. So that, as far as I know, that makes it legally binding. So what are we going to do? She goes, I don't know. You'll figure it out. You're a man. Get to it. And so he has to come up with this plan. So he goes, here's what we're going to do. This gigantic white bull has big golden horns and looks all white. So it's going to be kind of hard to come up with another bull that looks just like it. So let's paint a bull. So they go and take this bull and they go hide it inside of a big barn. And they push Fred in there and they shut the doors. And they bring out another bull that's just normal bull size. And they paint it all white and they paint the horns all gold. And they come out there with that bull and they're like, ta-da! Problem solved. And Midas goes, what's good? Except the other bull was like, huncha, and this bull's only like, huncha. So I think Poseidon's going to notice the size difference. What are we going to do about that? They go, oh, come out on your knees. What? We'll just build you little shoes. You put little shoes on your kneecaps. You sort of like walk out on your knees and pretend it looks really big. And instead of using a sword, use this dagger and pretend it's a sword and go, look at my mighty sword. And then compared to this tiny bull, it'll look huge. He goes, genius, let's do that. And so the day comes for the big sacrifice. And Minos goes out there walking out on his knees, shuffle, 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 pulls out this gigantic dagger. It's like, I'm going to sacrifice this gigantic bull, which is totally the one that Poseidon gave us. And Poseidon comes walking out of the water. He's like, hey! And Minos is like, all right, killing the bull now with this big sword. Stab, stab, stab. The bull's like, brr, brr, stab, brr, and it falls down. And then King Minos is like, it is done. Let us never look at this again. Okay, let's leave now. And Poseidon goes, why'd you kill that bull? And he goes, that's the bull you told us to kill. Poseidon goes, no, it's not. You just painted a bull white. He goes, no, I didn't. He goes, my bull's over there in the barn. And they all turn and look, and Fred's like, Mrrr! And like looks out the door. They're like, that's a different bull. We've had that bull for a long time. It's a different. Oh, poop. And Poseidon's like, were you lying to me? He's like, what? No. Captain. Aw. And he realizes he got caught. Poseidon's like, all right, listen. You shouldn't have lied to me. Now it's going to be time to torture you. He goes, what? He goes, two things are going to happen. And then all of a sudden, King Minos goes, wait! Son of Zeus, can't torture me. I'm home free. Poseidon goes, ooh, that's a good point. But your wife isn't. He goes, he goes, so what you gonna do? He goes, well, your wife is pregnant. She goes, I am. He goes, so the baby that she's carrying inside of her, I'm going to curse it. And all of a sudden she goes, ah! And all of a sudden she looks down and there's like two little things poking out of her belly. She's like, your baby is now half man, half bull. Because you fell in love with this bull, your baby will become half bull. The other thing is, this giant white bull that was so friendly that everyone loved is now insane. Poseidon claps his hands, and Fred goes, Mrrr! His eyes turn bright red, flame comes out of his nose and starts just running around just stabbing people. Mrrr! Stab. Mrrr! Stab. And just like picking people up on his horns, like throwing them around, like, ah! And they run away from it. Remember way back with the Hercules story? I think it was number 6 or 7. He had to go kill a giant man-eating bull. This was the giant man-eating bull he had to go kill. So this bull runs around until Hercules shows up. But the baby, going back to that one, this baby is now the grandson of Zeus. So it's all superpowered because it's 1/4 Titan. And we're going to call this baby creature, this half man, half bull, the Minotaur. Because it was a curse for King Minos, M-I-N-O, they call it a Minotaur. And unlike the centaur, which had the bottom half of a horse and the top half of a man, the Minotaur was the exact opposite. It had the bottom half of a man and the top half of a bull. So usually it was like a big, strong dude with a bull head on top. And, because curses are always fun, this Minotaur only ate one thing. And what's the only thing it eats? People. Human flesh, because that makes life fun. And of course they find out the hard way when the baby's born and the nurse comes over and says, oh, what a cute little, my arm! Spurt, spurt, falls over. Well, because of that, they decide they're going to have to feed this baby. And you can't just throw it against the wall to kill it. No, that's how you should kill babies. But because it's so strong, they ended up having to stick it in the basement, because that's what you do with big scary babies. And they take this big scary baby and throw it in the basement, and they have Daedalus, the inventor who made the cow thing, create a labyrinth. And what's a labyrinth?
A big
Cave?
maze.
Nice one. It's a giant maze. And they stick the Minotaur down in this giant maze. And that way it goes down there to haunt and run around. And they start feeding it humans from the jail. But they quickly run out of humans in their jail. So King Minos comes up with a plan and takes his army, his group of a whole bunch of all these people who have the warships, the navy, and goes around and starts attacking all of these neighboring countries. And every time he attacks a neighboring country, he makes a deal with them. He says, all right, here's what we're going to do. If you don't want me to destroy your city, you have to agree that every 7 years, you have to send me 9 girls and 9 boys to feed my giant mutant bull baby. And they're like, so like we can see you like criminals? He goes, no. My bull does not like eating criminals because they don't taste good. And he doesn't like eating babies because they don't fill them up. They have to be teenagers because teenagers are apparently just the perfect flavor. And so every 9 years, all these different groups had to send them. And that's where we get to Theseus, because Theseus is one of the kids who gets sent there to get eaten. There he is.
Carefully.
Except for Zach and Biff, who decided to wait because they packed it up early. The rest of you can take off. I figure every time people pack up early, I'll just randomly pick people to stay, whoever I notice.
I knew you would
Grumpy face.
He never gave me my seat.